What's going on, guys? I've got a few stories to share with you today, and I want to start off with some of this digital ID stuff, what we're seeing and what's happening in December in Australia as one example, and we're going to pick up with this video. I'm going to show you this clip as well. But right now we have Australia that is banning social media for kids under 16 years old. Hey, we can all admit that there are negative influences on social media. That is something we can't even debate. It is just obvious. But what is the solution? Well, let's take a look at what Australia is doing. In December, they're going to ban social media for under 16 years old. And how are they going to do this, though? That's what we should be asking. Okay, sounds good. We're going to take those negative influences of social media out of their lives. So what is the logical way to do that? Well, the logical way would be to require a parental control device on every computer and phone of those under 16. That makes perfect sense, and it affects no one except the kids. Of course, there would have to be some kind of legislation to enforce under 16-year-olds having a parental control to block them from that social media. But what do they really want to do? Well, we know what they want to do. Let's take a look down here. I've highlighted this. So several possibilities have been raised, including the use of government IDs, face and voice recognition. These are just ways that AI can estimate your age based on your face. They'll have you turn side to side. They'll take a look at, age marks, things like that. And then they'll try and determine it. But this is a serious privacy concern, especially considering this won't just affect kids, because the way they're doing it is not through a parental control requirement for under 16. They're doing it through enforcing age verification for everyone on the internet. Now, there's a very big interest in having access to our private data for AI, and I feel like digital ID, and I've been saying this for many years, that they are going to want to identify the data so they can better train their AI, because right now we have AI that is training against its own results, and because of that it's sort of stuck in a loop, and there's only so much progress they can make without being able to differentiate that data from that which is produced from AI and that which is natural, organic, creative data. That is what AI does. It harvests the creativity, the unique individuals of humanity, and it uses that and basically is a copy machine that will spit it out a different way for you. So let's take a look at this, and here's just yet another example of that. This is Larry Ellison, founder of Oracle, also known for his big efforts in Stargate, which is a project by the Trump administration to bring all these big AI companies into the fold and into a new system, is what my opinion is. It's just, if you look at the Doge cuts, check out my Freedom Cities video. You can also take a look at an example Freedom City here, Prospera. It's basically something that is a technological billionaire-run city by Peter Thiel, who's one of Trump's big donors and confidants, in my opinion, and Mark Andreessen. And if you look at the actions that are happening in politics on the Republican Party side, you do see a lot of close connections with these figures, at least at this point in time. That is not to say that you should trust the Democrat Party either. They may have their own dirt, but right now we're looking at what's in power. So, taking a look, let's listen to what Larry Ellison said just as further proof that they want our private data. And how will they benefit from digital ID? Well, if they can connect our exact identity to all our data online, of course that would be a much more efficient way for them to train AI, because right now they don't know who is who necessarily without direct identification. So these are just my opinions, as always, but let's take a listen to what Larry Ellison has to say about the limitations of only using public data.
On publicly available data, all the data on the internet. So if you look at ChatGPT or Anthropic, Grok, Llama, what.
So he's talking about how the public data, and I have to pause it just to make sure I'm within guidelines. He's talking about how right now AI is limited by only accessing what is publicly scraped data. And he's not talking directly about the digital ID and all of that, but I believe that is where we are headed. But let's take a look.
Have you? They're all trained on all of the data on the internet. In other words, publicly available data. But For these models to reach their peak value.
Yes, their peak value. And peak value, right now, AI companies aren't even making money. What is the peak value to the billionaire tech cult class? Which is what I consider right now, I hate to offend people, but I feel like at least part of the MAGA movement right now is almost, in my opinion, a billionaire tech oligarch cult. And that does not mean everyone. I have many family members and friends who voted MAGA, and I don't have an issue with that personally, but I do not like how it's been hijacked by these AI tech oligarchs. And I think everyone, especially those who are in that movement, should be especially concerned by how it appears to have been hijacked by these tech billionaire oligarchs, in my personal opinion, as always.
You need to not train them not just on publicly available data, but you need to make privately owned data available.
Right there, you need to make privately owned data available. Just consider that Windows 11 now wants you online all the time. They want to make sure you have something called chip-to-cloud security. You have the Pluton chip-to-cloud security chip. You have all of these other things that are trying to keep you connected to the internet. In fact, if you start up Windows 11 and you don't have an internet connection, it will say at the start menu, we can't load your widgets because you aren't online. So why do they need everyone online? Well, we know that ChatGPT, Microsoft sort of have something going there. How much of your data is private if you're running Windows 11? That's something you should ask yourself.
To those models as well, and that's where Oracle plays a particularly important role.
They certainly do, because Oracle is the company that houses most of the databases. They have the private data. They want to train on private data, and he's saying it as clear as it can be said, that they are limited by the publicly available data. And we knew this. This is an endless pursuit. They will never give up on collecting our data until they have everything at all times. They want total control, in my opinion, and that is to feed the AI, of course. Not necessarily their intent or whatever you want to call it. I'm trying to be careful here, but these are my opinions. But if you look at the results of what AI does, it is a discriminatory technology. That is what AI is best at. It is best at taking data, discriminating, and creating the results based on what you ask it to do. But it is discriminatory. It is tightly woven into the surveillance industrial complex. In fact, they cannot really exist without one another in this modern age. That is what AI depends on, surveillance.
Because most of the world's high-value data is already in an Oracle database.
Oh, how convenient.
We just had to change, and it is past tense, we had to change,
So he's already done it.
That database, so that that Oracle database can take the data that's already in the Oracle database and make it available to AI models for reasoning. So the AI model can reason on not just public data, but on private data.
So, in my opinion, there are people out there who will stop at nothing to create the dream they want, the world they want. They want their own world. And I don't believe many of these people in the tech billionaire oligarch AI industry will be satisfied without complete, total enveloping of the system in a new type of system. And that is my personal opinion. So yes, they will use digital ID, face, voice recognition to try and enforce this social media ban on people under 16. And we know, of course, that even those who run Stargate, you know, ChatGPT head Sam Altman, along with Larry Ellison here, SoftBank of Japan, all of them working in concert to create this AI future, which, regardless of where you stand on AI, it can be very useful, but we don't want to allow tech oligarchs to hijack your entire government. And right now, it's starting to look like it. Let's take another look. So we're also looking at this AI bubble. So AI bubble, Everyone is talking about it. There's some big signs happening. I mean, you've seen crypto crash. You're seeing now Peter Thiel's hedge fund has just dumped NVIDIA, which is the chip maker for all this AI development. Now, also, back to the AI subject. So in July, they pulled a ban on AI regulation. So AI regulation, something that states could do, and usually the Republican Party was known as the party of states' rights. So why are they trying so hard to prevent any kind of state-based AI regulation for safety, for kids, to prevent deepfakes? All of these dangers and risks of manipulation, psychological warfare on the minds of kids, on the minds of impressionable young adults. Why are they so determined to ban AI regulation? It goes right back to my tech oligarch theory. That is what is happening, is that these tech oligarchs seem to be really getting, they've got their own ballroom. Did you know they funded a almost $300 million ballroom at the White House, smashed out one of the wings of the White House? So we have a list of these donors that are paying for this $300 million White House ballroom. Now, this list will look familiar. It's much of these same AI tech oligarchs, like NVIDIA chipmaker, like Palantir, you know, the same ones that are creating this failing Freedom City type thing with Anyway Capital here, and also Peter Thiel, Mark Andreessen of, if you remember, Netscape browser. This guy right here, interesting fellow there. And so that is where we're seeing things head. And these crypto billionaires are donating from all of these different sectors. So we can see HP, Meta, Apple, Amazon, all of these, Palantir Technologies, you know, the mass surveillance company that is essentially destroying human autonomy in some people's viewpoint based on their analytics. The Lutnick family, look at that. So it's basically being bought by one big club and you are not in it. So we saw how they tried to regulate AI, made it a states issue, of course. Okay, that sounds good, right? So many times, multiple times, they tried to put it in the big beautiful bill, the big ugly tech cult bill, I like to call it, because all it does is give tax cuts to the top 1%. Most people are actually going to be paying thousands more a year. So the people who think they're getting a $2,000 tax cut in general are going to be paying another $2,700 a year in prices on average. So you're not really getting a tax cut unless you're in the highest income brackets, but don't let anyone tell you otherwise. And so they got past this. We got this stupid AI banning of regulation thrown out. But now what? Well, it's come back. It's come back. So it's also, at this point, they're talking about blocking it through an executive order. So you can see this tech oligarch cult, in my opinion, that's just what I call it. It is just seeming like a group of tech titans, AI titans, are running the government. They're running the damn government. And that's my opinion, but I'd love for you to show me otherwise. They're integrating it into everything. They're replacing human workers with this AI. This is not democratic at all. There's nothing democratic about it. I don't think anyone who voted for that. But some people did buy what they get, I guess. So yeah, they're trying to do it with various bills, with the defense bill as well. So the defense bill, they're trying to pass an AI ban. So much for the states' rights. They're saying it became a states' rights issue. And, you know, Republican Party, the states' rights party, well, they're coming back with it with a defense bill, trying to sneak it in there with some of these sneaky people. And then they're also trying for an executive order that would block states from enforcing any regulations around artificial intelligence, which is the surveillance, the tracking, the discrimination technology. That's what I call it. Surveillance, discrimination, and tracking technology. That's what it's for. Discriminating against humans through analytics and whatever results happen from it. Surveilling to collect the data. Discriminating by using that surveillance data to do predictive policing, to target people. All of this is one big tech oligarch cult, in my opinion. Now, of course, some Democrats are urging people to stand firmly against the big tech attempt to sneak in this AI regulation moratorium into the defense bill. So this is new. Now, back in July, we got rid of it. Back here, you can see July. And now they're trying to sneak it through a defense bill and also through executive orders. This is how I believe they would like you to live, under a corporate government. That's my opinion. But it's being done right now in the Honduras. Honduras right now is fighting for its life. They are at risk of losing and going into bankruptcy because of this lawsuit with Prospera, this corporate-run city, Prospera. So that is what is happening right now. These states, these age bans on social media just look like another backdoor to get us to have some form of identification online, which destroys any hope of the internet, and it's something we should fight vigorously against. Let me know your thoughts in the comments, guys, and I appreciate your support. Let me know if you have any thoughts on this. Like the video, comment, just say hi, whatever you want to say helps out the channel and helps get this video out there. And I will be back later with another report and tutorials on how to protect your security and privacy.